Well, the White House is set to ask Congress to approve a $20 billion arms sale to Saudi Arabia. But the deal is making Israel very nervous, and it comes as some U.S. officials question whether the Saudis are even a true ally in the war on terror. I'm joined now by GOP presidential candidate and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Governor Huckabee, thanks for being with me today. A question for you. Do you feel that the Saudis are doing enough to help out in the war on terror?
I most certainly do not. You know, the fact is they should be far more involved. And if we're going to give them $20 billion of arms, we need to make sure there's two conditions. One, they guarantee they'll never use them against Israel. And number two, we need to make sure that they use some of those arms to do a little more in Iraq, because they've sat back and let us do a whole lot of the heavy lifting, both financially and militarily. And, you know, the reason they can afford $20 billion of arms is because every time we squeeze the pump on a gas station here in the United States, we help make the Saudi royal family a little bit more obscenely rich.
Well, what's the solution to that, then? What should we do at home to help alleviate this problem?
Well, one of the things we have to remember, the Saudis are as interested in who wins between the Sunnis and Shia as they are about stability in the Middle East. Our interest is not about Sunnis. Our interest is about stability, getting our soldiers home. It's about making sure that we have an honorable and victorious conclusion. But it's not so much important to the average American as to which side wins the internal war of Iraq. We just want there to be some type of stability, and we want terrorism to be contained and not brought to our shores. So I think we have to make it clear that if the Saudis aren't interested in what we're interested in, we're not so interested in sending them arms.
All right. Well, nice approach. How will an arms deal impact, do you believe, the U.S.-Israeli relations?
Well, without some conditions, it could strain those relations, and we don't need that. The Israelis are a true friend, and they have been a loyal, faithful ally of ours, as we have been to them. But they represent a real democracy in the Middle East, and one that we should never turn our backs on.
All right. Now, Governor, do you have a different approach to fighting terror than the current administration?
Well, we have to make sure that we continue to fight it with heavy intelligence. I think we do need to realize that it doesn't have to all be shock and awe or cut and run. The third option is snatch and grab. That would be where we put a greater focus on targeting through good intelligence the leaders of terrorism, and we go after them in special operations and specifically try to make sure that we take them out, that we don't let happen what happened recently in Pakistan, where for fear of upsetting the Pakistanis, we pulled, the back on our trigger, and we didn't take the shot we could have had. Would it have offended the Pakistanis? Possibly. But, for the amount of money, the $10 billion of checks that they've cashed from us since 9/11, I think they'd get over it pretty quickly.
All right, and what else would you like to see this country do in terms of its future direction and approach towards the Middle East conflict?
The other countries of the Middle East, particularly those in the immediate vicinity of Iraq, have got to become more involved. And the good news is this administration, to their credit, is putting more pressure on not only the Saudis and the Kuwaitis and the UAE, the Turks, the Jordanians, and others. And that's what we have to do. This is their neighborhood. It is in their best interest that there's some stability there. The degree to which they sort of sit back and let this be a spectator sport and let us do all the real work, that should be increasingly unacceptable to all of America.
All right, presidential candidate and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you, Kimberly.